All right. Good morning, everyone. Uh, we'll resume the talks here. I'll let a few minutes to put your headsets if you're not there yet. All right, cool. Let's get started. Um, do you remember the first time you heard about the word CRM, like the context, how it first entered like your knowledge? I actually do. It was quite a long time ago. I was a teenager, and I was speaking with my mom. My mom was a sales rep, and at every dinner she kept complaining again and again and again how annoying that thing was, and the thing was called a CRM, and her managers were sort of forcing her to encode thing in a CRM, and it was so really boring. Um, my mom is really good at everything related to sales, so she's good at building relationships, getting what people need, etc., etc. But she's really bad, sorry, mom, with computers. So it was really a hell for them. So for me, the vision I had of a CRM was something akin to this. It was something that put extra pressure on the different salespeople to force them to just do things that they don't really need. It was just something bad, a CRM. And fast forward a few years later, now I enter Odoo and I discover that a CRM is not exactly that. Fast forward to today, and I'm here as the CRM Product Owner to tell you about what's new in this app. It's one of our most mature app. We know it works well for what we need to do. We use it with huge volumes of leads, but there's still quite a few things that we added this year, and I'm really happy to be able to present those. All right, you probably know the drill by now. You have here a link and a QR code. If you have any question, you can just put it in the pad over there. And depending on the time we have at the end of the presentation, we'll go through those. Of course, if you have a question that takes a lot of time or is really specific, then just come to the product booth and we'll be there to have a look with you. All right, without further ado, let's get started. How can we make a CRM that's not a burden, but rather something that helps salespeople? How can we make sure that they're actually happy to have to use it and they don't see it as something that's just there for their managers to build some reports for their own managers? Well, the first thing, as everyone, we all wish we could have more time. Time for what matters the most. And in this case, well, if you're a salesperson, your thing is finding what people need, creating relationships. It's really not encoding data in front of a computer. So, a few features that we can come with to help you do that. You can import business cards. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. You can schedule activities and also AI, of course, that I need to show a bit. So let's have a look. I'm here in a trial database. You will get exactly the same if you go on odoo.com and just create a new one. Let's say I'm coming home after the Odoo experience, and I had a lot of beers, I had a lot of fun, but also I collected some business cards. What I may want to do is just follow up on those opportunities. Like, those are interesting people that I saw. I know they want to work with me, so let's encode this in a few clicks. I go here, and you see we have now a new button called Import Business Cards. I go in here. Of course, here I'm using a desktop computer. If you have a smartphone, you can just take a picture on the fly. And I can just upload the picture. What happens is that we just ask the AI to pull the information. Something went wrong. Let me see why. Let's try it again. Maybe it's because the Wi-Fi is not good enough. Let's check. And you can do it in a batch. Yeah, there you go. We put the picture in the attachments. So if you ever need to go back to it to make sure that everything is correct and to see where this comes from, you can. But you see here I have the name, job position, website, address, etc. Everything has been encoded for you. You don't need to spend time copying data that you have on a piece of paper. So that's already something that can help you win a bit of time. Now, of course, activities. I think that's really the cornerstone or every good sales activity in Odoo. You need to make sure that you always have the next steps planned. It's been improved quite a bit in Odoo in the next version. As you can see here, the screen now is way clearer. You can schedule activities in just a few clicks. But what I like the most is that now if I scroll down here, you see there's a button called View All Activities. What it shows me are all the activities of every document in Odoo, and from there, I know what I have to do next. What I find really cool as well is that I can create activities that are not linked to a record. So if it's just a quick to-do, something that I need to remember, I can just go over there in just a few clicks, encode a to-do, and Odoo will remind me about it. You see here, they're all ordered depending on the documents, and I have a category called Other Activities. All right, so that's pretty cool. But of course, you probably want to hear about AI. I had a demo planned, but Fabien did exactly the same. So let's do something else, because we have quite a few other features. So you probably saw that when I'm over here, if you saw the keynote, I always have a button here called AI, and I can open it and have a conversation about this document. You see, the conversation is named as my opportunity. Why? Because it's linked to the conversation and it knows everything about the conversation, which is why I can ask for a follow-up or, for example, a chatter summary in just a few lines. There you go. Well, something that I may want to do to show you something a bit different that you haven't seen yet is also use AI in my mail templates. Let me show you how. When I go here, I can manage my templates and we can create a new one. We'll call it, for example, introduction. So you probably know the email template. Let's just do it quickly. The thing is, I don't want all my emails to look the same and to sound really robotic, right? Because we can feel when we read an email if it's a template that's been sent again and again and again. So now you can have part of your email templates that's dynamic. How do you do it? You go /AI and you see that you have an option called prompt. I can actually insert a prompt inside my email template where I can go write a quick introduction for, and then I want it to be dynamic. So I can insert values doing / here you go, and I will say contact name, for example. There you go. And then you just put the content that you want to be used in the prompt. For example, my name is Luc. I work at Odoo. And then I just, for example, add a signature. There you go. Now, whenever I use the prompt, and we can test it here, you see that I have the value that's being replaced by the AI service. And if I take another record, it's the same. You see, it's always different. The answer is always different. And I can, of course, fine-tune it. So I could say, make it really, really informal, for example. Ask for a meeting. So again, I can preview to see how it looks like. Okay, I'm Luc from Odoo, I'd love to chat, blah, blah, blah. When I take another record, we re-evaluate what you asked for, you get another email, etc., etc. You can use it to write the entire email or just a piece of it. It's as you wish, you can just insert it everywhere in every email template. Now, if I go back to this, when I need to send this introduction, instead of having a generic template, I have here my introduction. It's being evaluated, and I get the value here. Now, let's say for this customer, I don't want it to be like this informal. I just select, and I ask for an update. Make it more formal. I'm looking forward to it. Works for me. Use this. Again, my email is ready. So it's really a process of back and forth. You iterate, you see what you like, what you don't like, and you just adjust the prompt if needed. All right, so here with just a bit of configuration, now we can easily send email that are personalized and dynamics. Plus, we are always on top of things. Let's get to the rest. What else can we do to help salespeople do their job? Well, we can provide them more insights on what matters. After all, that's why we're using a software and not a piece of paper or an Excel sheet, right? But which kind of insight can we provide? Well, of course, AI fields. We'll see that in just a minute. But we have also some features that are specific to the CRM that are quite interesting. Let's have a look. You see on the pipeline here, there's a car that normally should catch your attention because it's in bright red over here, and you see it's been there for 8 days. What's happening here is that this deal is considered as rotting. It's not getting the attention it needs to get. Why is that? Well, on the stage, and you can do it on every stage, you can define the threshold. And here I say, well, 5 days. 5 days, it's like the normal time for a lead to be in this stage. If it goes further than 5 days, there's a problem. And what's really cool is that Odoo will tell you proactively that there's something to do here. So whenever you woke up and you open your pipeline, you see here I have one, and I can click and just filter on all the rotting deals. Of course, depending on the stage, we will have different configurations. If it's brand new, maybe we should have someone working on it in just a few days. But for a proposition, maybe 5 days is enough. All of a sudden, even as a salesperson, it really helps you do your job because now you make sure that you don't drop the ball and that you just follow up on everything with a really sharp timing. Cool. What else do we have? Well, AI probabilities. So, Odoo computes the probability for every opportunity that you have in your CRM. This is not some magic best practices or anything. It's based on your own data. We do some statistical comparisons based on what you have for your business, your company, really with your data. And we are able to give you a feedback here. This is the probability of winning this lead based on your past performances. If you want more insights, you just click here, and you see you get a few clues of what makes the probability go up and what makes the probability go down. For example, source search engine. Well, apparently for this database, I usually win the leads from that source. You see that the email address, of course, is always a plus. When I have an email address, I have more chances to win. But it's just a new lead for now, so it's not that likely to win it. And it does not have a phone number, which means it's tricky to be able to contact this lead. So for now, it doesn't look like a really valuable deal. Let's have a look at another one, maybe the one we just created. And let's say that this is actually a contact that I got, let's say, from LinkedIn. Or maybe let's say that this contact lives in Belgium. Well, when you do that, you see the probability adapted live, and it will also impact the report here. Well, source is LinkedIn, that's the top negative. So maybe I shouldn't spend so much time trying to get new leads from LinkedIn, since apparently my chances to win them is not that high. What we really wanted was not to have it as sort of a dark box where you don't know what happens, but to really provide this information so that you could act upon it. If you have a problem with leads from LinkedIn, maybe there's something to do. Is your strategy correct? Maybe you have better sources, etc., etc. Cool. By the way, I think we have a bit of time, so I could say, if I want to see, I could say, show me a pivot of leads grouped by source. So if I want to have a look at how I'm doing on that regard, my internet connection is not good, so it's not going to work. We'll show you next time. AI fields then. You saw what we can do with those. I can go a bit further and maybe show some different use cases. The idea is that those fields are computed via a prompt. And this prompt, you can do everything that, for example, ChatGPT can do. For example, I could have, let's have a new here, and let's look for a random company. Okay, I don't know anything about this company, but let's just take its data here that I get for the autocomplete. Okay, let's say I get a request from that company. I don't know much about that company, so what I'm supposed to do as a salesperson normally is to just go online and search for information about this lead. But let's make it easier. I will add properties, so those are fields that I can add without it being a customization. I can just do it myself here. And I will ask ChatGPT to work a bit for me. I will say, with AI, and here is the moment where I write my prompts that can use dynamic data. For example, I will say, search the web for a company called /field, and here I will say company name. This will be replaced by the values of that specific document. And then to be located in /field, country name. So again, to have some better results, I'm making sure that we are talking about the same company here. And I can say, for example, what were their revenues in 2024. And since I want to make sure that my data is reliable, I will say include your sources. Now, this lead, of course, now that I have it here, this new field, it will be computed for every new lead that enters my system. If I want an update straight away, I can just click here, and it will do the search live. We'll see, yeah, for example, this company is not well known. Now, if I do, for example, let's say Samsung in South Korea, to have a company that's a bit more known. So you see, it's not coming up with fake information. It's not just filling in the fields. It's really doing a search. So now let's check. Samsung is South Korea. I suppose it should be able to find something. There you go. I have the estimated revenues, and it's not something that comes from anywhere. I have a link here if I need to check. You could totally build a lot of fields like that just gather information from the web and just show you what's happening. Let's have another example. I can say news. Again, same story. Search the web for a company called company name so that it's added directly. I suppose for Samsung we don't have to be that accurate. What summarize the last news for this company? Okay, all of a sudden, and we'll call it news. All of a sudden, I have here a lot of information that I don't need to search around.
Thank you
and
for
since
VoIP
it's
sharing
basically
the
the
VoIP
equivalent
features.
of a Google search, I will have
First
the latest
question,
news
is
available
this transcription
straight here.
done through
Of course, I could
OpenAI?
fine-tune it to have
Secure,
just a
so
few
none of the
bullet points. But you
transcription
see, I have the
data is
different
added
news.
to
Everything
the
can
model,
be
to the
directly
OpenAI model.
living inside your CRM without having to search. All right. So we have AI fields, we have the routing lead detection, and the probabilities.
Second question.
What else can we do? Well, we can provide
How
more
can I connect
opportunities
Odoo
to salespeople to do their
VoIP
magic.
to our landline?
You know that in Odoo we can generate leads from a ton of different sources. We can do it with forms, emails, or even lead mining, where you just request lead for a specific industry, and we find the ones that best match your need. Then you also have integrations. For example, when you book a demo with a salesperson at Odoo, we create a lead because we have a link between appointments and the CRM. We have the same with events and the CRM. Some people, when they registered for the Odoo experience, they actually created a lead because their profile was seemed interesting, and we needed to make sure that we would follow up and maybe give them a call. Maybe that will be you. In Odoo 19, we also have quite a few new ones. We won't have time to go through those, but we have a bridge with the AI live chat, meaning you can have an agent that just chat with your visitors, and if they're interesting, then you create a new lead directly. It will do it for you, and it gets all the customer data that's needed. It will ask for the email address, etc. And we have a link with survey as well. That's really cool, where if I just show you how it looks like, on any survey now, you see this little star here. It means that this is actually a question that will generate leads. It depends on the answers, of course, but for example, if they work in the manufacturing industry, when they fill in this form, we know that they're interesting for you, and we will create a lead. So those are all sources that we are trying to add again and again and again to make sure that, well, you're a salesperson, your magic is selling, so let's give you as many opportunities as possible to do it. Of course, I only have a few minutes, but there's a lot of other features. Fabrice over there was talking about VoIP. That's also a really cool feature for the CRM. We have advanced assignment rule, and you can also connect your email address, for example. But that's maybe for another talk. So how can we make a CRM that's actually for salespeople? Something that's not seen as a burden, but rather as an ally and something that helps you do your job in a better way. Well, we just make sure that we give more, and more. We give them more time, we give them more insights, and then once we have this, we give them more opportunities. So in a few words, I would say it's the opposite. Odoo CRM is actually there to work for you and not the other way around, like I used to think when I heard about the word CRM the first time. Thank you for your attention, and now we'll go through the questions if we have a few ones. If you haven't written it already, you have the pad and the link here. If you want to check anything or go through any specific part of my demo, again, we have a booth for the marketing apps, and the CRM is just there.
Hello, Luke.
Hi.
Thank you for that. Okay, the questions are coming in. Is it possible to schedule activities not only by day, but by time of day?
Yeah, which is exactly what we do. For example, when you create a meeting, when you book a meeting, it has a start time and an end time. So in that case, for those you will have, yeah. So if you have something that's really punctual, I would suggest using the features where it creates an event in your calendar so that you have a real deadline with a start and end time.
Is there a limit in numbers of AI requests per user or on the platform? Additionally, is there additional pricing for this feature?
So normally you will get it straight away when you create a new trial database. You will see that you already have a key. If you want, you can always use your key. For example, if you have a specific contract with OpenAI or Google Gemini. But other than that, no, we don't further restrict the amount of times you use it.
Is using the AI used to learn the AI model for just internal users, or is it also for external data?
So for now, what we do is we just connect via the API to those systems and we forward them the information. If you have really sensitive data, then I would indeed encourage you to contact them to have a specific deal, and then you can use your own key, meaning you would use your own service with them instead of using the generic one.
Okay. Can we set a stage of approval based on user? For example, if a particular person moves the stage from new to the next stage.
Yeah. You could customize Odoo to do that. We have an approval app that allows you to customize it. We don't have it by default in the CRM, but it's totally something you can do, yeah.
Okay. And can you put external sales agents in the CC field of an email so that the customer sees who was copied on the email?
Yeah, you can add different people in the conversation loop, and in the email that people get in the inbox, they see who else actually got this email.
Can the criteria of probability be changed?
Yeah, so we have quite a few fields available. We use all the source, medium, phone, country, states, etc. And you can fine tune it based on your need. And you can also add tags, which usually is really cool because then it's really flexible.
And can you define what values affect the probability of winning in the CRM?
So basically what we do is we look at all the leads that you won and that you lost, and then we check, for example, in which country they were, which source they were from, etc., etc. And then we apply a mathematical formula through AI on it, and that's how we get the result that you see in the opportunity form.
Can we give access to salespeople to log notes or set activities, but not allow them to change any of the information?
We do have a sort of a connector that you can add on Odoo, so a module that you can add if you manage external resellers. As we do in Odoo, for example, internally, sometimes we have leads that we forward to a reseller if we think that they can handle it better. So there's a portal plan for that. It exists already.
I think we can have one last. What agent are you used when you use the prompt in the email templates? Can we select those as well?
Yeah, I think I should be able to show it here. In the configuration here, let me see, default prompts. Yeah, you have it here. So you have, this is not really an AI talk, so I didn't go through all of this. This will be for tomorrow morning. But yeah, you can decide, you can give it a specific prompt and decide which agent is used. For example, if you want a specific wording based on specific sources, etc., you can do it. The framework is there. Yeah.
One last question.
Okay.
Connection with Google Calendar
Hmm.
our Odoo 18 wasn't as optimal. Would this be improved with the tasks and activities on Odoo 19?
So this is not exactly my scope, but I know it's been improved. And if you have specific issues, I really encourage you to go to the product booth to just check with them. But we know we have people working on it full time, so yeah, for sure it's been improved.
Great. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you for your time.